I'm not going to even tell you guys a lie. This I have no words. I truly have no words for what I watched in that movie theater. I made a promise to myself and two niggas that would harass me endlessly every single weekend whenever we had a conversation to go see this movie. So I finally, even though yes, I should have saw it when it dropped, but I took my time and nothing wrong with doing that whatsoever. Took my time, went to go see it on my own terms, went by myself to go see it. I didn't want no distractions. I didn't want nobody talking to me or asking me no fucking questions. Though next to me was a family, and it's a family in a Spider-Man movie. You put two and two together, there's gonna be a little bit of noise, but that didn't take away from the overall immaculate experience that was Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. This movie does something very interesting, and I was thinking about it while I was driving home, and I was like, this is one of the few movies, and it's few of them, where it's great because it can't stand alone. What I mean by that is you have to watch the second part. After watching this movie, I have to watch the second. Lord is my witness. You better not take me away before I watch the second part. I'm serious. I gotta know what happens, what goes on. I don't even want to spoil. I'm not spoiler free. How about that? I'm not gonna spoil nothing. I know there are still people who are late like myself to go see the movie. Take your time, but hurry up. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hurry up. This movie is excellent. I don't think the trailers do it justice. I'm sorry, and the trailers themselves are already like great, but like the thematic principles, the theme of like I don't have the words. I really don't have the words. There was a lot of unexpected twists in this movie. They introduced a lot of characters for sure, but a lot of elements to where it's almost like you really don't know who is the bad guy, if that makes sense, because there's a lot of characters that end up being placed in very conflicted situations, and as an audience member, as somebody watching the film, watching the art before your eyes, you often end up asking yourself who is right and who's wrong, you know, because in a lot of superhero movies, it is just that simple. You got your good guy, but you got your bad guy. And the one thing that I've noticed when it comes to Spider-Man movies specifically, but superhero movies overall as of late, is that they're playing off of the cause and effect theme. You know, we love our superheroes, and as a kid watching some of the older superhero movies, obviously some of those themes were still there, but they really weren't like pushed up upon, because obviously it's a superhero movie. It's gonna be pandered it's gonna be pandered to a certain demographic. And now we're in a day and age where they're taking a lot more liberties with how they want to introduce these characters, introduce these situations, just even introduce these conversations. I am 1000%, you know what I'm saying, on Miles Morales' side. Without a doubt, no matter what that kid can do, I'm on his side no matter what. But like I said, there's a lot of situations, that might have been a slight spoiler, but who cares? There's a lot of situations where they are trying, I mean, the trailer showed it, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of situations where some of your favorite main characters are being portrayed in a manner to where they're the bad guys and they are the cause of a lot of damage. And because, in some cases, because they're trying too hard to be the good guy, they will potentially cause even more lives to die, you know? And that's why this movie excels. Like, I'm going to watch it again. I'm not going to go to the movies to watch it again. When it gets this digital release, I'll watch it again, but just to really dissect it. But this movie is excellent. This movie is very excellent. It builds tension. It has great characterization. A lot of the Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Spider people, the Spider people that we're introduced to. There's an array of characters, but there's like, when you meet some of these spider characters, there's almost like these Spider-Men, there's almost like this guilt that follows each and every one of them for some kind of reason. It's very interesting. It's very, like, this movie, the perfect word is interesting, but this movie knew what it wanted to do, knew how it wanted to tell its story, and they knew exactly how they wanted it to end. Me, I was watching the movie and I was literally not upset, but I did not want this movie to be over. I wanted everything to kind of be where it was, but because I watched the first initial teaser trailer of this movie last year, I think it was, I already knew it was gonna be like a part 1, part 2 kind of thing. I just didn't expect it to be in such a way to where now I literally have to watch second film, the part 2. This movie, dang, do I give it that? From my first watching the movie, having fun with the movie, understanding the movie, again, I'm watch it again, but my rating could be subject to change. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10. I could not, and for me, you know, I'm not one of these harsh critics that need to watch, or because they studied for like a month and a half, they can't really, you know what I'm saying, open their eyes to more simple things, and a lot of simple things that might have been played out or done before is now bad because it's been done before, whatever. I don't give a shit at all. I don't fucking care. This movie is a 10. It delivered on everything that I could possibly ask for, and it actually challenged me. That's the biggest thing. This movie actually challenged me on where I'm going to stand going forward with these main characters. Because on one hand, one character saying one thing makes sense. On the other hand, this character saying something, it makes sense. So they're really challenging you with a lot of ideologies and objectives. Like, this movie is truly amazing. I have no actual words. And then of course, I need to talk about the animation. I wasn't gonna bring it up because this is a given. We saw the first movie. You can expect even grander, and I'm talking some of the animation choices, some of the animation styles, especially where it's specifically placed, is chef's kiss. It's amazing. It's actually amazing. It puts some anime to shame. It puts a lot of these 3D animated films that have action segments completely to shame. I don't know what kind of crack they're smoking up in that studio, but keep smoking that shit, because you're making it doesn't make any sense how good it is. It was hard. It wasn't even really hard for me to keep up, and that's the genius part. How do you create such a chaotic style with your animation, and I can still keep up with every single thing that you threw at me on the screen? I saw everything. It was not one moment, because I didn't go to the bathroom. I held that shit. I held it. I felt it in the first 30 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna hold it. There was not one moment where I was like, okay, you're doing too much with the sporadic colors and no, there is a genius direction behind this animation style, and it clearly has had an influence on other movies. Like, if you look at the Puss in Boots Last Wish movie, there's some animation influence from Spiderverse in that too. I don't know if there's any other examples out there, but you can clearly see that they really made their mark on a style that is not technically perfect, and it works incredibly well. This is not a perfect style. By people's definitions, they probably wouldn't like it because of something like the choppy frame rate, or the ridiculous amount of colors and textures that you see at one moment. Like, for some people, it might be a bit of a headache to even watch it. For me, this was amazing. This was actually amazing. I loved every single setting. I really did love every single character they introduced. I did, man. and the amount of tension that they added to this film, the themes that they played with, and the way they fucking ended the movie, you have to watch. You have to watch the second film. You have to watch it. This was incredible. This was actually incredible. I'm literally dumbfounded at the genius that is this movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I really can't think of any issue that I might have had, and I think the pacing was well done. If I had to come up with any sort of critique, the main villain that they introduced in the film, I would have liked to see a little bit of him more, but I understand why he was out of the picture as much as he was. That's it. That's it. I have nothing else to say. This was crazy. This was crazy.